So I got here on time, and
Wait, did you start recording?
Yes.
Oh.
Stop
me off guard.
That's why. That's why I literally started because I knew he was recording. Me and him caught eyes, and I was like, "All right, he's recording." He hit it because I saw him flip it.
Guys, it's my off day. I'm the off one today, man.
Damn, dude. So anyway, I got here on time, and then as I walked into the store, I'm chit chatting with Rene, and then I sit behind the chair, the little chair.
Mind you, it's 7 o'clock. It's way past 7.
So it's closed. Like they're closed. It's 7:12. He has a couple of customers inside the store. This girl is like going through her stuff, so she gets the WandaVision pop that I bought because she was foolish and she didn't buy it. But so anyway, so she grabs the pop, and instead of taking it to the guy behind the register, she took it to me. And like goes, "How much is this?" And I pointed at Rene.
I go, "That's $10.99."
Then she goes, gets a comic, comes back to me and goes, "How much is the comic?" And I pointed back at Rene. And then he's like, $4.99.
Yeah.
Like he's just giving out prices, and I'm just like, why is everybody coming to me with these things?
So then, mind you,
were you behind the register?
I was behind the register, though.
He was behind the register.
Where were you?
I was sitting
at the table
at the
right
table.
there, next to the register.
Okay, so not to like defend
but hold
this
on.
person
There's
the
still,
whole way.
There's still
more.
There's
Oh, so there's more.
Yeah.
No, there's more. Oh, there's more.
So okay,
he starts cleaning. He starts cleaning. So I'm sitting
everything's
there.
off.
Yeah, everything's off. He's already flipped all the signs. He's already put, "We're closed."
Yeah.
Mind you, I love comic book people. I love the people that come into
We
City
do.
Comics.
We
They're
all the
amazing
time,
people.
yeah.
They are amazing people. But except for when they yell at me, and
much. So okay, I didn't lock the door because I just closed everything and I'm just doing everything really quick.
So how far past 7 p.m.
This is like maybe
7:30. It's almost 7:30.
Yeah. And you didn't lock the door?
I didn't lock the door because I just closed up, and I'm gonna throw out the trash as well too.
In all fairness, the 4 people that were in here, they were in there until past 7:20.
Okay.
So he was trying to like kind of like go like, "Oh, we're closed," everything like that, like
in the nicest
possible way. And it's fine that they wanted to shop. That's that's what the store is for.
Okay.
And everything like that. I have no problem.
Worse?
I have no problem with people who are just trying to find a good comic and everything like that, especially for the weekend.
So how does it get worse?
So we're sitting there, and these 2 dudes, they come in through the store, and then Rene then goes, "Hey man, sorry, we're closed." The guy then, instead of turning to Rene, turns to me, and then goes, "Why are you closed?" And I'm like, "I didn't do it."
And so then he's like, "Man, he came in here." And then like his friend in the background that's holding the door, he's like, "Man, he came in here knowing what he wanted. He knew exactly what he's gonna get in and get out."
You lost a customer, and I was like,
mind you, they're not looking at me. They're looking at Nick. And I'm the one behind the register, but he's the one standing on the table, and they're yelling at him.
I'm just sitting at the table, like with my legs crossed, and I'm waiting for him to finish. Yeah. And I'm like, "Hey, how can I help?" and everything like that. And they just start yelling at me, and I'm like, "What the heck is going on?" And then I'm like, "I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't make it." Like,
I'm saying like, "Hey, we're closed. Sorry, we closed at 7. We just started closing right now." I told him, but they're not listening to me.
Yeah, they're not listening to him, so they just start berating me. And I'm like, "What is going on?"
Okay, but like I've had stuff like that happen. Like you guys know that going into Target with a red shirt is like the worst thing you could do, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, of course I get it, but like sometimes you just
I'm wearing a red shirt right
now.
now.
But like sometimes you extrude that energy, and like I don't blame people, but for it to happen 4 times to you, then that's a little like.
So
let me see. What do you wear? Are you wearing Metal Gear?
It's a Metal Gear shirt.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure.
I told him like, listen, they probably looked at me and then looked at you and been like, who's the most nerdiest guy in this room? Nick.
So Nick beats you on the nerdy
apparently,
look.
Apparently I beat him on the nerdy look. And then also I thought it was funny because they looked at me for like pricing and stuff like that. And I was just like, is it because I was sitting and doing nothing? They assumed
he was like the manager or something.
They just assumed because I was sitting and doing nothing behind a table and I was making you work.
Wow.
Obviously that guy's in charge. So I asked him when we were walking to the thing, I was like, do I just exude this energy? And he goes, I guess
so.
I guess you do.
It's probably whatever the way you're probably you probably have like a power stance when you sit. That's a power stance.
That is a power stance, actually.
That's a power stance. Yeah. When you cross your legs, that's a power stance.
Yeah.
But it's just comfortable.
Yeah, but that's still a power stance. Yeah. It means that you're comfortable where you're at.
Because I was talking to Rene.
Yeah.
I was very comfortable.
I'm just saying you have a power stance. I'm not. Why are you getting mad at me?
because you weren't here on time. If you were here on time, I wouldn't have gotten yelled at.
I'm
By
sorry.
random
How
people.
dare you?
Hey, look,
This is your
look.
fault.
Like every good superhero, they're always late.
You mean your alter ego? Your alter ego got in the way.
Exactly.
Sometimes, just like the topic we're going to talk about of a certain character, you got to take some hits.
Yeah.
Yas, Quinn. Okay.
I'm gonna say this because I told you guys before we started the podcast, but I'm like genuinely happy and excited to be here today.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
more than usual. Not to say that it's like on a lower level before, but like
other times, those times suck. This time,
this time is good.
I'm
No,
happy.
it's-
I
it's
saw you
good.
skipping outside. Like I've never seen you skip.
People are gonna listen to this and they're gonna like take everything you say for real. Like
I hope
watch,
so.
they're gonna be
I so
like,
hope so.
Is it real that you like you're mad at Nick all the time
Yes.
because like
No.
he's great and they're gonna believe that and it'll be like,
Absolutely.
no, I'm not like a mean content producer.
He is.
I'm not.
No, we talked about this before we even
didn't.
recorded.
No, we were talking about it when we were watching Heavyweights, which also dope movie.
Yes.
My God.
I'm wearing my
No, because
shirt.
he was wearing the Perkins Power shirt.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So when I walked in, I was like, "Dude, dope shirt." And then he goes, "You're the third person today. Only 3 people have noticed what the shirt
Yeah.
is." And I was like, "You want to watch it?"
I was like, yeah, we got some time to kill before Bryan gets
Dude,
here.
we got like halfway through the movie.
Yeah, I saw it. I like knocked on the door when I saw like the time. I was
We
like,
got,
oh, okay.
halfway through this because as soon as we got here, I was just like, "Let's start it.
Let's watch
start
it.
it." By the time Bryan gets here, we maybe could be done.
But we were talking about that was it last week's episode.
Because we were talking about last week's episode, and then we were like, was it mean that we kept on saying that we would eat Bryan?
Okay, so funny story before we jump into the intro. I was editing the podcast,
Yeah.
and for some ungodly reason, my mind was like, maybe I should listen to the first like 15 minutes of this issue just to see what this argument was about.
It was a
And
good
I
argument.
listened to it because I was trying to get to the part where I like have to edit the intro and stuff like that, and I was just like, yeah, this is pretty funny.
But we were talking about it, and we're just like, okay, we gotta calm down on the whole like
Making fun of,
attacking
like,
you.
Like making fun of Bryan.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about it, and then, but here was the funny part. We both said it. We go, maybe we should stop making fun of Bryan.
Yeah.
And then we went, but that last bit was hilarious. Like,
It was actually pretty funny.
Like the bit worked. Like, but I did listen to it, and I could not stop laughing.
It was great. I was like, because there was a part that was like, it was like there was a part in that whole bit where I stayed quiet
Yeah, you
for
were-
like a second, and I responded to Nick, but I knew I wasn't mad.
No,
Like
yeah.
it wasn't genuinely mad. It was just kind of like, really, kind of thing. Like, you really want to eat me?
Yeah.
And it was the part where it was like, I'd never mentioned that, like, me specifically. And that's what I told Nick. I'm like, when did I say, would you eat me?
And we talked
I
about
said
that.
a
So we were
dead
talking-
crew member.
So we were talking about it too, and we talked about that. And then from what I took from that question was,
No, it wasn't a question. It was
Or
like
that-
the way
that-
you started the
yeah,
conversation.
the way you started that conversation. I just assumed me and you were in space, and then you were like,
I said crew, not two.
we thought we were part of that crew.
we
Like
thought we
we're
were
a
all
crew
part-
right
Yes,
now.
we're a crew now.
I know, but
Why
I
can't
just
be a crew in space,
I know.
Bryan?
I just
Because it needs more people. We need more people.
First off-
why is it only a 3-man spaceship going to Mars?
Did you
First
ever
off,
see Apollo
13?
11?
Yes.
yeah, Apollo 13, man. They only 3-man crew. Come on.
Okay, but this
Tom
is
Hanks.
2021. If we launch a spacecraft to Mars in 2025, I expect at least a crew of like 8 to 10 people.
First off,
Okay.
Tom Hanks and Kevin Bacon landed that shuttle like men.
What did Bill Paxton do?
Yeah, he just
He got
kinda
sick.
He just complained a lot. He
They
just kinda
landed that
complained a lot.
spaceship like men.
But
I'm
Oh
just
my
gonna
god,
say
we're
this.
so going off.
I'm gonna say this that now that Nick's in the show,
Uh-huh.
I feel like our intro bits are just so much better now.
They're so much longer
They're
too.
longer,
It's fine. But I love-
so much longer.
let's jump into the intro. Let's go for it.
Let's go for it.
We got a good long meaty episode today.
Told you it was a good story.
issue. Yeah, it was a great story. It was good. But no, we got a good, we got a great issue for you guys today. So, we ready to kick this off?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Hello, citizens. Welcome to Keeping Up with the Nerds Variety Hour, coming to you from 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California. Immunity Waiter's #1 podcast for all things nerdy. I'm your host, Bryan.
Rene.
And Nick.
And welcome to the show, issue 46. Almost at our 50.
Almost. We're
my
about to
God.
buy a motorcycle right now.
Dude, I already started looking.
Can you up the volume just a bit on my mic?
I already
I'm
started
noticing it's a
looking.
little bit low.
There you go.
Crack open our energy drinks.
You and your G Fuel.
My
You're
G Fuel.
You're smack. You're Crash Bandicoot.
My Wumpa fruit. Oh my God, this tastes beautiful.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's great.
Damn it, I should have gotten one.
It's great.
How's your ghost?
Sour.
Sour.
It's sour, then it's sweet.
All right, so before we jump into the issue and the topic at hand, let's just do a quick little reminder. We did launch the website
Finally!
officially. It's done. It
Yes.
happened. It launched. What can we find on this website, guys? Tell us. Tell the viewer or listeners or viewers if you're watching this on
Yeah.
YouTube what they can find on this website real quick.
Well, first off, you can find our bios.
Yes.
And from there, also our stalker pages. Those are good too.
Stalker pages?
Yeah, I linked in at the very bottom of yours where you live.
No.
You didn't see it, but I edited it really quick.
I edited it. Don't give me access.
Did you just dox me?
I put your phone number and also and where you live. It's fine. It's fine.
You can also find them on LinkedIn.
All right, so our bios. Our bios. What
Our
else?
bios.
Our
Yeah.
bios. We will eventually. We'll start having some blogs coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
Once again, if you guys would like, you could always send in bios to us. Message us on our YouTube channel if you would like to send us a bio or anything like that, or just not a bio, but like a blog spot or anything like that. We do want to talk to the community more, see kind of some what do you guys think?
Yeah.
Everything like that, and also we will be reading them. We're not just
Yes.
going to post it.
I know.
So-
We will be proofreading
Yeah,
them.
we will be proofreading it so that way it's just not,
So the blog spot is called The Nerdy Planet.
Nerdy
Yes.
Planet,
It
yes.
is our online newspaper where we're going to be
Absolutely.
posting. So that is a great spot for people to go in if, they want to post something, or, if you want to see what our thoughts are, because, we're working on videos still and we do the podcast. There's just a lot that, the three of us can't do.
Yeah.
So if you want to quickly write in like a review of something that we watched or give our thoughts on something, that's where you guys can find it.
Yeah.
It's also really great that if you guys want to keep up to date with those, articles that come out, you guys can sign up using your emails on the main website, and that way you will be notified when those posts go live.
Absolutely.
There on the main page, you have our little intro commercial thing that we filmed a couple weeks back, which is fantastic. If we don't say so ourselves. Newest podcast issues, new videos, weekly highlights of videos that we've done before.
Yes.
There's also a countdown.
Yes.
Yes.
Which I love.
Yeah, that countdown's pretty cool. I mean, we also have a trailer that I'm not in. I was very hurt. I was so hurt
I'm
that it was
hurt. No, we have to work on one for
that
the
I'm-
website
that I'm-
anyways.
that I'm not in.
Nick.
And it hurt. Okay.
Okay, suck it up. Suck it up. No one's
No.
crying tears for you here.
Dang.
You don't like my crocodile tears?
No.
Crocodile tears? You don't like it?
So Bio's
I'm gonna
website.
throw some ghost on me. Just
Bio website's Nerdy Planet newspaper. And Rene, anything else?
the
Our what is it? Our artist corner or what is
Creator
it?
Spotlight.
Creator Spotlight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys have some wacky fan art that you would love to submit and everything like that, Bryan being eaten by us. or
Oh my
something like
God.
that.
You really
Oh
want
my
that to-
God.
You just finished
That's
saying.
gonna be a thing now.
Oh
Wow.
my
I'm
God,
so
dude.
hoping
You
it's a
just
thing.
finished saying
Zombie.
maybe we shouldn't be mean to him. And then look what you're promoting.
If you guys
That's not
want
being mean. That's just selling a bit.
Making it a reality.
That's just selling a bit. I don't know what you're talking about.
Make me Nick zombies while we eat Bryan's guts, guys.
Heck no.
You know what?
No.
I haven't seen Bryan throw up yet, so I'm down. I'm down to see that.
Yeah, I'm getting sick now.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. Also, I believe our YouTube videos go up first on the website, right? Before they go up on YouTube.
I don't know. I'd have to double check. But yeah, so everything's up to date there. The creator spotlight right now, there's 2.
Yes.
Toon Geeks, who we've shouted out in a video before and on a podcast. They now have their own dedicated spot on the creator spotlight, as well as
Tony Cruzada,
who helped us with the flyer art, which is fantastic. He also has his own little creator spot section there. So if you want to know more about them, they gave us a short little interview. Shout out to you guys. There's links to their pages. So if you want to contact them in case they have commissions or anything like that, you can follow them there. And the last part is our location where we film and record our podcast. Yeah, shout out to Undercity Comics, the location where our Hall of Justice, our Hall of Justice, where
they let us here record, they let us here record here with no cost. Just we give them as much marketing as we can for them.
Yes,
stuff like
if
that,
you are within the Whittier area in California, close to it, Los Angeles, stop on by here. Because the 3 of us are Whittier locals. You'll maybe catch us in here a couple times. Renee, I know you work here, so you're here Wednesday through Sunday.
Yeah, Wednesday through Sunday. I'm the main person that everyone will meet first, if anything.
Yeah. Renee usually wears a fake mustache, though.
Yes,
and he goes by Pablo.
So there's a small little bio where you can find more information that also links to their Facebook. So that is officially launched. If you want to follow us on there, more than please do. And you have links to all our socials and where you can find the contacts. So if you want to contact us there for any inquiries or business related stuff, emails right there. If you want to follow us on YouTube, there's links there. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All that information's there. We thank you guys for everyone that's already been, that's visited and that shout us out and all this stuff. Thank you guys so much. It keeps us going. Nothing but appreciation from all of us here. So thank you.
For sure, man. Yeah, that's super awesome.
We got a lot more. We got a lot more coming up.
Yeah, man, we got a lot more videos. Also, just letting you guys know that we didn't just forget about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We do have videos for that. We do have videos for it. We're editing. Brian's editing, and
it's a one-man team.
He won't let anyone else touch it.
He won't. No,
because Bryan has a way of editing.
He has a vision.
He has a vision. He has a way of how he does editing. You don't trust him with that.
Yeah, you don't tell James Cameron how to direct a movie.
I was gonna. Yeah, you do.
No, you don't.
I would say at this point it's Michael Bay. At this point, it's Michael Bay. I would explosion. You're not going 20 gallons under the sea right now. You're going and I think I can make a boomy thing here.
Here, exactly. I'm making the next Transformers movie.
And Optimus Prime.
Giant sword. Dino Transformers. Let's do it, guys.
Let's do it.
All right. So, main topic of today's issue. If you have not seen the title. We have been shouting out this show for the last couple of weeks, probably 4 or 5 issues before. Yeah. It's basically, no, this was 8 weeks ago when it first started. We shouted this out. Yeah.
Before I started.
Fantastic. Invincible.
Yes.
An animated series that was released on Amazon Prime's streaming service 8 weeks ago. It follows the story of a young kid named Mark and him coming to age and realizing what his powers are. Yeah. And, Rene and Nick, who've read the comic books, because it is based on a comic book written by Robert Kirkman, who, if you guys don't know, also wrote and produced The Walking Dead comics and TV series.
I believe he did this one first, right?
He did Invincible first, yes.
And then
this is his first thing, and then he went on to The Walking Dead.
But I think he's
Walking Dead took off more.
Yeah, he's more well known for The Walking Dead. Yeah. So it's, Rene and Nick, they're the experts here, so they'll tell you more about it. But this is the topic of the show. Yeah. And why we recommend you guys should watch this. We're straight up getting to the point. You guys have to watch this series.
It's good.
It's a great series. Fantastic. I am not the emotional type when it comes to things. But this show,
and then the finale on it.
Forget the finale. This show.
No, the show is all the way good.
pulled some major heartstrings,
Yeah.
man. Like, holy crap.
You know what? The thing I really liked about it was kind of like watching John Kent like learn his powers, grow up knowing that my dad is Superman. And then
Talk about Superboy, right?
yeah. Because John Kent is in the comic books. They have like John Kent. He grows up and he has Superman's powers.
Yes.
He marries Lois Lane. Has John Kent. You know, he becomes a superhero. He becomes basically a sidekick.
But doesn't he not have all the superpowers?
No, that's
Connor.
Connor.
So it's
Because he's a
somewhat
clone.
different. Okay.
Yeah, Connor Kent is a clone of him and Lex Luthor.
John
Kent actually
Ha-
has all of Superman's powers.
He has all the Kryptonians.
And in one of the comic books right now, he is Superman.
He's in the midst of becoming the definitive Superman.
I think
for Earth at least. Yeah.
Well, I think he's like in Earth 2 or Earth 3, something like that.
so,
He's Superman with like Luke Fox as Batman and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I was in the future state.
Yeah, and like it's the future. It's like the future Justice League.
I have that issue. I haven't read it yet. And I want to.
It's a good issue.
I'm really excited to get to that one.
Yeah, I'm really excited for because also the writer that did Deceased is going to be taking on the new Superman title,
That's gonna be
and
pretty sick.
he's going to be writing Jonathan Kent. As
Well, so
Superman
much to
in
look
that
forward in
one.
terms
Yeah,
of Superman.
Jonathan Kent is an interesting character, but besides that, I do like the idea of him growing up not having powers and then kind of being a weakling and everything else, and then you get superpowers one day.
So it's kind of funny that you mention like the similarities between the two, because I feel like Invincible was written for every corner and demographic in terms of comic book knowledge, because you have all your stereotypical tropes. You have the coming of age, not realizing that he has, or waiting for his powers to come up, which he gets them. Yeah. The responsibilities of having those powers. You have, your Justice League, like your uniformed, organization of superheroes. They mimic the Justice League and Avengers in that sort of way. Your organization that works behind that. And not only that, but then like the realization, there's secret meanings behind, secret agendas that you might not have realized between family. Just all these different tropes that you see in comic books. So even if you don't read heavily on the DC side, you just kind of like just take the top part of it, you'll kind of realize it if you do read some Marvel things, even some like third party stuff from like Dark Horse and stuff like that. You still pick up on those things.
That's the thing.
Because I thought of it as like very much a mixture between the Avengers and the Justice League on like their own unit, but also they work for the government in a way. Like they're funded by the government, and the government like aids them and stuff like that, which is kind of like the Avengers
with Shield and everything,
with like Shield and stuff like that. Whereas like the Justice League is basically just like, how are we gonna pay for this? Batman.
Batman.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Funding from Batman.
How do we pay for this, Bruce?
Bruce got it covered, guys.
Bruce has got it covered. Yeah.
You guys want an espresso machine? Just tell Bruce.
just put it on the list. And Bruce get it.
Send the bill to Wayne Enterprises. But wait, like I bet you half of the superheroes don't even know that Batman is Bruce Wayne, and they're just they're just like, wait, why are we getting mail from Wayne Enterprises?
What?
Why do we have a? Or could you imagine the accountant at Wayne Enterprises? It's just like,
what the F?
Like, wait, now that you mention that,
think about it.
it's like there's so many
doing
ways.
the numbers.
There's so many ways that you could then, because he has to have a business manager.
Well, they touched onto that in The Dark Knight, where the guy's like, so I've been running the numbers, and like, and so I saw that you putting heavily money into R&D. You just like,
but they haven't produced anything. Like,
unless it's like filed under a different account. That's so weird. Now that you say it,
I think, or if anything, oh no, well, I don't know how. See, that's a whole nother.
We're getting into a whole other topic.
Maybe
How does Batman fund the League but not make it known that he's funding the League?
But you know what? Like going.
Oh no, Batman Incorporated.
Oh.
That's
So-
that was what his auditor said.
It's funny.
You have
It's
to incorporate. You have to incorporate.
It's funny that you guys mention like the similarities between like that, what you guys are talking about, and Invincible, because like in the show, we see that. Now,
Yeah.
to kind of move forward with the subject, we're not going to like talk about every single episode that aired on Amazon because it's 8 episodes, about an hour each,
If
and we
anything,
can spend like 3 hours talking about
We
it.
could talk about just like the memorable moments.
We can talk about episode 1
The ending of episode 1
and
if
the
anything.
ending, and then we can talk about episode 8, and we'll tell you guys when we get to that spoiler section in case you don't want it spoiled.
Sound like a motorcycle.
It is a motorcycle. It's the place across the street. It's just a lot of noise.
An accident outside.
That's what I was thinking too. Or like an explosion.
oh,
We're
man.
like, well, we're stuck in here.
No, but we can talk about the first episode, the ending to the last, and we'll tell you guys when the spoilers are coming in, so you guys don't get some unnecessary information. But like I said before we jump into that, it is based on a comic book that came out in the early 2000s.
Yes. Let me double check really
2002, if I'm not wrong.
Invincible. As that.
It's Invincible. I want to keep saying Invincibles.
I love. You know what I love about this show? I love the fact that every single episode starts with them going. Well, he's gonna have to be, and then it just splashes in.
So Rene and I were talking about
I love
that.
I don't know why I love it so much.
A couple issues ago, before we started recording,
Oh,
I told
in
Rene.
2003.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
close
so
enough.
Yeah, I was close. It was like 2002, 2003. Yeah.
He first appeared in Savage Dragon issue 102, August 2002, and then a year later came out with the series.
So technically, you were right.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But I was telling Rene that those intros, because the intro to the show is basically them just kind of like,
I just saw
they
a
kind of like
spoiler.
talk about
Damn
some.
it.
Oh, for the next season?
No, because of what's happening. Because I haven't read too far in the comics as well too. And I just saw a spoiler of an image that they posted on Wikipedia, and I was like, damn it.
I'm done with the comic.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay, so
I've only gotten so far in it. That's why.
Rene and I both agreed
Yeah.
that the intros were a little bit weird.
Why?
Because sometimes it doesn't mix well with like, oh, he has
The
to
way
be.
they presented the intro of like, oh yeah, it's like, oh yeah, maybe one day we'll work with Doom, and it says Invincible. Yeah.
But I will add on to it that I did like the blood splatter, and it never came off.
Yeah.
As the show progressed, which was great.
Well, it kept getting worse.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the Walking Dead opening. I noticed that Kirkman loves those interactive openings.
It slowly decays
where it
more
slowly
and more.
decays as like the series goes on.
That's just a Robert Kirkman signature.
Yeah, that is something. But the reason why I liked that is because it felt very campy. So it kind of reminded me of like the old like 69 of like the 66 Batman.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, because we have to do this and everything else, and I really did enjoy that. So
It's a good trope.
It's a nice little trope,
Yeah.
and it doesn't hurt anything. And it only it's in there just to like satisfy fans.
Yes.
And I appreciate that. I like that.
Okay.
I thought it was fun.
So, as someone that has not indulged in the comic books yet,
Yes.
could you guys give me and the listeners let's say like a 5-minute summary of what the comic book is like before we talk about the show? Because we did say that the comic and the show are starting to go in different, like far off directions.
The thing I can really say is that it's not paced as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Invincible, the show, has definitely figured out what it did wrong in the comic books.
It's a redemption.
Because in the comic books, you do have these like really good stories of like Mark getting his powers, Mark dealing with his dad, doing all these other things. But the thing is that they're throwing a lot at him. Or like early on, like you'll be in the middle of like a story, like main story, and then all of a sudden like
they'll throw in a character that he doesn't meet until like well into it.
Yeah, and then like
And this is in the comic books?
Yeah, like in the comic books, like you'll just like throw a character in, and then like he has like a big like 2 to 3 issue battle with him, and then like that character will go away, and then they just continue the main story, and then you're like, wait, what did that have to do with that?
Yeah.
And then like later on, it comes back, and you're like, okay, that's kind of cool. Whereas in this one, it was like an episode, and it's kind of like in the everyday life of a superhero.
Yeah.
And it didn't absorb as much time.
Yeah. So what going off of that, basically they're setting up in a better way in the show than the comic did.
Okay.
Where in the comic you're reading it, and like Nick said, it felt like it was a throwaway arc. Just a kind of filler in a way.
So,
but then they go back to it, and you're kind of like, oh crap! Oh wait, that happened in like issue so and so.
but the theme is still the same. It's a kid.
More or less.
Yeah.
Okay, so can we do the same? Can we talk about the theme of the story, basically what it's on, because we got the similarities in terms of like what we see in other comic books compared to Invincible. So we know that the kid's Mark. He has his dad, who is basically Superman, but they call him a Viltrumite.
Yeah. No, he's Omni-Man.
His superhero name is
Omni-Man on Earth.
His species is Viltrumite.
And he comes from the planet
Viltrum.
So
like,
a Kryptonian Krypton from Krypton.
Very Superman.
Let's just face it. Kirkman was just like,
I'm making Superman, but
okay, Kryptonian,
Viltrum.
Could he do this? Viltrum.
That's the thing. Coming up with the name Viltrum on its own, like how many words did he had to go through
so
to get
we'll
to
talk
Viltrum?
about it, because now that I was messing with it in my head right now, and I just thought of why he maybe said Viltrum. We'll talk about it when we do with episode 1.
Okay.
Because I just thought, I was doing the phonetics on it, and I'm like, wait a minute. Hold up, it sounds similar to something, and there's probably a reason.
Maybe Bryan figured out Kirkman's mind.
Probably. I'm in your head.
I got you.
Just like Christopher Nolan, I'm coming for you. There you go. I just mentioned his name right now.
I was wondering when you were going to do that.
Take a shot every time Bryan mentions Christopher Nolan.
That's what Andy said, too. She's like, if there was a drinking game for every issue that you mentioned Christopher Nolan, I think we'd all be like passed out. And I'm like, yeah, probably.
See, I'm just waiting for you to figure out how to make like a Tesla coil and then shock yourself and make a clone of yourself just to disappear.
Why? How did you? Sure. You know
Prestige,
what?
Baby. Prestige.
The prestige.
Prestige. I prestige Nolan.
Because I'm prestige. That's why.
So, story is about, it follows a kid, Mark, right? Okay. His dad is Omni-Man. Nolan is still his name, right?
Nolan
in the comics?
is his name.
Yes.
Okay.
Nolan Grayson
Does not get his powers until he is like a senior in high school.
Yes.
Okay.
He's a senior in high school, yeah.
And so in the comic books...
Oh, we're talking about Mark.
Yeah, Mark in the comics, yeah.
He's actually, according to Omni-Man, a late bloomer.
Yeah.
Okay. Because he's half human, half Viltrumite.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So from then on, the series takes a sharp left turn, right? It completely differs in the comic books. So let's do like a first 15 issues or so of like what happens.
You take out a couple of arcs. Because you do have this, like, he's learning how to do it. He does have that, I forget the granite dude.
Yeah.
What was his name?
I forgot his name. But yeah, the guy that turns into stone and stuff.
Yes, though in the series.
Like that is like one of like the first things he does and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. Like the first issue is pretty close to the first like 2 or 3 issues.
Yeah, except for the ending of episode 1.
What was the ending of episode 1 again?
When he goes after the Guardians. Of the Globe.
Yeah, I think that doesn't happen until like issue 4 or 5.
No, that happens in volume like 2 or 3, because it
happens late.
It happens like maybe not until issue 12. So that's what really kind of like really threw me off at the end of the episode. That shocked me at the end of episode 1.
But that's what I mean by, because you have this entire thing of Mark turning into a hero.
Yeah.
He gets his powers. The Guardians of the Globe are there. He actually does, I think, have a couple of missions with them.
Mm-hmm.
And
he builds a relationship with them.
He does have a relationship with, like, he knows them, and because he's fought alongside the team with the Guardians.
Teen Teen Titans.
Yeah.
Listen, listen, every single time I've like heard it on their thing, it sounds like the team, and I was just like, and I was like, this is I go, are they just not pronouncing it right? And I go, because I honestly thought they messed up and they were just calling it the team, and I was like, that's a lame name. Like
team.
Like
Team
team.
Team.
It's a team. It's a team.
It's a team.
Yeah, it's the team. But I prefer
Take
to
a
call
shot
it
every time you say that.
Say it 5 times.
Team.
But yeah, because he does have like this relationship with the teen team. Oh my gosh, I've been saying it team.
Wait, is it teen or
no, team?
Okay, for a sec, I don't know why it's
TEEN
Okay.
TEAM.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
But if you listen to it in the show, it sounds like team.
Team.
Yeah, it sounds like team.
I just wanted people to
We're
take
done
another
with
shot.
the team. No more team. All right. Anyways, so he builds a
He
relationship.
builds a relationship with them, the Guardians of the Globe, and like they don't work together, but like he knows of them. and stuff like that. And you also get this friendship as well between Omni-Man and the Guardians. Like they do dig deeper into that of like
That's the thing.
there's a familiarity between them.
There's like a not a respect, but just I guess like a coworker respect kind of way.
Okay.
Where there is a relationship there. So like when that happens,
It's kind of like when Batman doesn't join the Justice League.
yes, just like that.
And like he just shows up to help the Justice League, and then he bounces when like things take place in, like near Gotham.
Yeah.
And then everybody like doesn't give him crap or anything like that, but it's more of like, oh yeah, cool, Batman's here.
Yeah.
So it's funny because like from what you're telling me on the comic book, basically like you guys are talking about the first 10 issues and we're not
That's
even
all
touching like episode 1 at all. But it's funny because I feel like a lot of people, oh my God, how can I say this? I don't want to sound offensive when I say it. People that are not knowledgeable in comic books who are just jumping into like TV shows and, you know, movies and stuff.
Casual
and
fans.
The casual audience.
Casual audience, yes.
When they jump from like a TV series to a comic book and one that's already been released and out there in the world, they forget that there's reasons as to why the pacing might be a little bit longer.
So I've had a lot of people when when The Walking Dead came out and the way that the show was going about it, when they started reading The Walking Dead comic books, they came back and told me like they're like, that's weird because the comic book is not following where the show's going. And
okay,
I go,
remember you and I were heavy Walking Dead readers when we worked together years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we understood that.
Yeah,
because
so-
we had people talk to us about that.
So, we talked about The Walking Dead and everything else, but I do believe, because I remember burning through Compendium 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I remember just burning through those. And for The Walking Dead, I feel that, here was my thing. I feel like AMC and Kirkman made mistakes when doing The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
the show, right?
Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that AMC buys Prime buys The Walking Dead and they just make an animated series.
Redo the whole thing?
Just redo the whole thing and just call it the animated,
that'd be
Walking Dead,
great.
the animated series.
Because Prime I felt like they let Kirkman do whatever he wants with the show.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
but not only that, but also I would love it. I would love it if they used that same kind of artwork as they did inside of like the Walking Dead
Comics.
The Telltale version.
Oh.
Like if they use that same kind of animation where it looks like a comic book and stuff like that, like that would be really.
But
sick.
in order for that to work, you have to do what they did with Invincible. You have to wait until it kind of the hype of it dies down, because Invincible was a comic or even a series that not a lot of people knew about. I didn't know about this, and then until
it finished a while ago before the series. Came out.
It
and
finished,
so
what, like 4 years ago?
yeah.
Something like that?
So like, if Prime wants to do that, if Amazon wants to do it, they have to wait until the oversaturation of the Walking Dead series basically dies out in the next like 5 years, and then bring it back.
But I think that's a solid idea. Like, just
It's not bad.
Like,
It's
'cause you can
definitely
still
not bad.
have the people that worked on it too
might actually
Yeah.
be a
come
little
back.
cheaper.
I mean, I think even Steven Yeun will come back and be
Do
more than happy to
Glenn.
do Glenn again.
Because
and Rick and everybody else. I think that would be kind of sick.
So it's funny because it's like the pacing. So there's a reason why pacing is always off from like books to shows. And I think the best way to explain it, if like, you know, comics aren't your thing and, you know, maybe you're not an avid comic book reader, if you're a video gamer per se, right? We went to watch Mortal Kombat 2 weeks ago at this point, or about a week ago.
Up to this point,
That
it'd
would
be
be
2
2
weeks ago.
About 2 weeks ago, right? Okay, we talked about this on last week's issue. How much the story has changed over the years and how many different iterations there are, right?
Yes.
How do you cram 6 hours of a game into a 2-hour movie? It's difficult, right?
You don't. You turn it into a series.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's the same way here. How do you cram multiple issues of a comic book into a 1-season show that now got confirmed for seasons 2 and 3, but an 8-episode season?
Well, that's the thing though, is if you actually watch, if you actually read Invincible, the first couple of issues are kind of like the everyday life of a superhero.
Yeah.
It's you're following you follow his dad, you're following you're following Nolan, you're following the Grayson family.
Yeah, it's
They're
essentially how the first episode was, where you are doing that, but there's no seriousness, there's no blood yet.
Yeah, it's very much like, oh yeah, we're a super family.
And that's how Kirkman essentially brought it out when the comic book came out. He didn't mention anything about like it's gonna be like bloody guts or bare nickel like fights. And
It's a very family friendly.
No, he came out.
It's
like,
a family friendly
it's
comic
a superhero
book.
comic book.
Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. Good.
And that's how he
just-
loves to do it. He loves to just like
But you know what?
pull the rug out.
But the thing is that it's interesting, and also I wouldn't have minded seeing more of like this partnership with the Guardians of the Globe.
I would have loved.
Okay.
That's why I
would
was.
have
so-
That's what shocked me at the end. That's why I was like, oh, okay, they're going straight into that.
Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is that the battle of the White House,
Yeah.
I feel like did that where they were
Okay.
where it was just,
Brian's like disagreeing.
Brian immediately went no, but the battle of the White House, I was because
Yeah.
there were moments in there where he was working well with the Guardians of the
Yeah,
Globe.
yeah.
So as a viewer, it told
I'm
me
looking. Brian's my
that he was a
peripherals on
team.
Brian. He's very.
That he
he's
was a-
making motions.
we're get to you, okay? I'm talking.
This
Do you
is
mind?
our time.
Do you mind? We're on a date here, all right?
Oh, God.
The only thing separating me and Rene is a computer screen. That's it. We'll unite soon.
All right, go on, because I'll tell you afterwards.
No, I'm done.
I'm unfinished.
No, I
I'm
was-
done. You want
And
to
it was nice. Okay.
Yeah, it was, oh.
Okay.
No, but seriously, I wasn't done.
Go on. Finish, Nick.
Ooh.
Okay. Now there's pressure. Got to perform. So,
I love it.
so anyway, the entire attack on the White House does kind of show you that. I know Brian's going to disagree with me because he hates everything.
No.
But-
I'm disagreeing with you for a different reason.
Okay. But the way that they did it, it did kind of show that yes, there is a rapport. Yes, we have known each other for a long time.
Yeah, there's been there's a history.
There's definitely a history. I do feel that that's something that you can convey in a TV show that you couldn't convey in a comic book. Where if like you were just to put like in a comic book, just like, oh, nice to see you again, Omni-Man. Like that would just kind of be like, oh, that's whatever. But because you actually have motion, you have body language, you have all these other things, you can kind of portray, hey, these guys all know each other. They're all not friendly, but there's a respect
Yeah.
that goes along with like all of the Guardians of the Globe and Omni-Man. And not only that, but also because I think
For a second, I don't know why it didn't sound right when you said Guardians of the Globe because I was expecting to hear you say Guardians of the Galaxy. I was just like,
he's like, oh, that's not their name, bro.
Yeah, no, I was
That's
like,
not
wait,
their
no,
name.
but then I was like, oh wait, yeah, we're talking about
No,
that's
we're talking
Invincible.
about something else. So yeah, it is right. But no, but for that, because I think Cecil even says it at one point. He goes, I asked you to lead the Guardians of the Globe.
Yeah, he asked Omni-Man. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, yeah,
does
I've
want
asked
to.
you several times to lead the Guardians of the Globe, and you keep saying no. And I thought that was always kind of like that interesting thing of like the super, like the basically Superman not taking up like the mantle of like leader
Yeah.
and everything else.
Yeah,
Right.
that was the Batman. Yeah.
All right, my turn. All right, here we go. So, crap, I just lost my train of thought. Hang on.
Damn.
Oh no.
Yes,
We distracted him.
No, okay, I got it. So,
laser pointer.
there is
Call back.
Where? Tell me where's the laser pointer. So there's a reason why I feel like the pacing in the series did what it did, and why the end of the episode 1 is just fantastic in my opinion. Now we're going to get into spoilers, like heavy spoilers.
Yes.
In my defense, I never said it was bad.
No, I'm not saying it's bad.
No, we're just
but I'm
saying
saying
that-
there's a
Yeah.
reason as to why I felt like, even though it might have taken longer in the comic books to get to the end of episode 1,
Yeah.
the way that it was shown outright by episode 1
Yes.
is much more impactful.
Oh no,
And
hardcore. I'm saying episode 1 way better than like the first 15
Yeah,
episodes. Like issues.
and in this one they show it differently than how they did in the comic book.
Yes. Spoilers.
Yes.
This is your moment to basically stop the podcast and come back once you've watched the entirety
Watch
of
all 8 episodes.
all of it,
right
or
now.
maybe exactly, because we're going to get into some heavy stuff and you don't want it spoiled. Warning you right now. Also, if you are easily get nauseated by some graphic depictions
hearing
of
graphic
stuff,
things.
we're warning you right now.
Yeah.
This show is really heavy, and it's not just to show you blood and gore. There is an emotional, very hard aspect to it. Andy, I apologize if you get nauseated. I'm sorry.
It's a
we love
family
the show.
story.
It's
It
a family
really is.
I'm not lying.
Not lying.
I'm
Yeah.
not lying.
warning you.
It's a
I'm warning
family
you right
story.
now. I'm warning everyone. Just, warning you now.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's go into this. So there is a reason why it's so impactful at the end of episode 1 when Omni-Man just goes ham on the entirety of the Guardians of the Globe.
Right.
As someone that has never read the books and now wants to,
Yes.
showing you that immediately dragged me into wanting to watch the next episode.
It did.
I haven't been this intrigued with a show since The Boys.
Yes.
Because The
Which is
Boys...
another Amazon Prime show. Yeah.
The Boys did such a great job in wanting me to keep watching
Yes,
the next episode. Okay, this
definitely.
episode ended. Why is it not Friday already?
Yeah.
And it's the same way because we are introduced to Omni-Man as like this very arrogant, almighty being and protector of Earth. What's wrong with him? Then all of a sudden he shows up at the Guardians of the Globe headquarters and just annihilates everyone in like the most
Brutal.
and graphic way possible. We talked about it. For me, it got me when the red blur is
Red
his name?
Streak.
The red streak
Streak.
Yeah.
is just like trying to get out of this Omni-Man's like head vice.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's just punching him in
And
the
his
chest.
arms and hands just
Yeah.
disintegrate because he's trying to get out, and he just dies.
Mind you, too, I love they set it up where it's like, oh, like every minute feels like hours to him. So when he's getting his head crushed,
It's in
it's
slow motion.
longer for him.
Yeah.
It's like an eternity for him. That
And it's just
sucks.
pain. Like you can feel the immense pain that these guys are going through fighting. It's either like they knew that they were going to die. Who's the Batman copy in this
Oh,
one?
that's what is it?
Darkwing?
Darkwing, yeah.
Darkwing.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
I love that he's the Batman of this series, and because you can Batman in the Justice League, even though the audience will say, oh, but he gets down and dirty and gets into the fights and
That's
stuff.
true. But we're talking about if basically Superman had no morals at all.
This goes to show that a Batman copy just went like, I don't have my armor to take care and take down this dude. I'm jumping straight into the action, and what happens to him? Gets immediately slammed, and his back pops out of his back.
And then and then like the second sweep is just basically he's like a blood balloon.
Yeah.
And just pops. And just,
Exactly. Like it's bad.
Yeah.
But though that sequence got me to just be ready for the next episode.
But you know what the thing is that it's actually one of my quotes on the website if you go check it out. But shameless plug.
You almost got Bryan.
I almost got Bryan to spit. No, but it's an interesting idea that Batman even says it one time in one of the comics. I think it's Hush.
Yes.
In Hush, he says it and he goes, Superman could kill me in an instant if he really wanted to. But deep down inside, Superman's a good man and he won't do it.
So that's a perfect quote, because you think that Omni-Man is that person.
You think he's a good man.
You
And
think
then
he's a Superman.
Yeah,
type,
and then all of a sudden, the show has almost no graphic violence at all, and then it gives you a 5 to 10 minute little sequence where you get to know the Guardians.
Yeah.
The Martian Manhunter apparently is like taking care of an orphan child.
Yeah.
The Red Streak is like on a date and has like problems because he can't like
He can't focus.
He's getting married and he can't focus. Yeah.
Exactly. Darkwing is the protector of his city, and he's got to leave that to meet up with everyone.
Yeah.
You get to know everyone.
Yeah.
And you feel attachment to them
Everyone has a
automatically
backstory,
because the show makes you feel so comfortable that
they're going to live.
Yeah, it's like, great. I know
Yeah.
I'm so happy. This show's
Yeah.
great. Balls to the walls, just immediate annihilation
Yeah.
of every single member in the most graphic, brutal way possible.
The one that got me was it the Green Ghost or the Emerald Ghost one? The girl, green,
and
Omni-Man just like punched her straight in the head.
She knew she was dead.
And like, yeah, and the way she says, "Oh no," and boom, and he's just holding her.
It's because she caught the alien. She
Yeah.
caught the Martian, and right when she catches the Martian,
Yeah.
she goes, "Oh no!" Because in order to do something, she had to like camouflage.
Yeah.
And she immediately know, "Oh, I messed up."
Yeah. And
I messed up.
it immediately throws you into a field of I felt uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'll admit I was very emotional in that aspect
Yeah.
because during that sequence, because I was like, I wasn't ready. Like, why are you throwing this at me?
Yeah.
Like, you don't show me a family show and then just
Mind you, this is episode 1, and we're only seeing the tip of how Omni-Man is capable of.
yeah. And
Yeah.
you're like, for anyone that doesn't like that stuff,
Yeah.
I think they're going to have a very tough time going through the rest of the series.
So for what I like about this whole series in general is that it just feels very almost real aspect.
Yeah.
If it was superheroes with people, not just superheroes, but people that have abilities and what it would be really like.
Yeah.
Like, especially when Mark is trying to be a superhero throughout it and he's failing every step of the
There's
way.
reality aspects to
Yeah.
it. Now,
so really quick, just so that way we can kind of actually use the proper names. Yes, the Batman character, his name is Darkwing.
Yeah.
The character that is basically like their Superman clone, he is the Immortal.
the Immortal.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one that's supposed to be Wonder Woman is War Woman.
War
Woman.
That didn't take any
And she's
effort at all.
she's a video game developer, which is great.
Oh, yeah, that's actually
Yeah,
pretty cool.
she's
yeah.
a video game developer. The Flash is Red Rush.
Red Rush, not the Red Streak. My
Yeah,
bad.
Aquas is the fish.
Aquas.
He's
The fish, the
he's
Aquaman.
He's the Aquaman of their group, the one that was in.
But
in
he
charge
actually
of
looks like a
Atlantis.
fish.
Yeah, Martian Man.
Martian
I
Manhunter.
mean,
No,
his
just
name is
Martian
literally
Man.
Martian, like somebody
But he's-
literally looked at him and went, "He had the same powers of Martian Manhunter." What do we call him?
Martian Man.
Martian Man. It's not even a man.
He's not a hunter of men.
Yeah.
He's just a man.
just Martian Man.
Just a
They
man.
actually made a joke further into the series, and now that you said that, it makes sense because when Mark is following the people out there, like, no, we actually don't want to fight with humans, which is like counteracting to what
yeah.
like the Martians actually want to do
Yeah.
in DC.
Uh-huh.
So that's great. Okay.
And then also Green Ghost.
Green
is
Ghost.
the green
The Green
Lan-
Girl, yeah.
Yeah, it was the Green Girl with
Who's she
the Green-
copying?
The Green Lantern.
Green Lantern, because she can technically...
She has a
Think-
band
Yeah.
essentially that makes
Yeah.
her
Mhm.
turn
Yeah.
into that.
So it's that's like her. That's like that was what her name was the Green Ghost.
Okay.
And you have Omni Man.
Okay.
That was basically it. Yeah, those are the people. Which along with Black Samson. Oh, Black Samson is the guy that left.
Oh, that's right. They
That's
didn't
right.
show
I
him
couldn't.
with the
I
team.
couldn't remember. I was like Black Samson. Why does that sound so familiar?
Mhm.
Yeah, he's the guy that he was originally on the Guardians, and then he lost his powers,
Mhm.
and then he joined the second Guardians.
Yeah. And now he has his powers.
Yes.
Yeah. But the pacing here works because keep in mind, if I would have started reading the comics, I would have been not that I would have been bored, but I would have been like, when does it get, like, when are we like gonna get something new? You know, like the pacing is going to be a little bit long, especially if I would have been reading these books like as they were being released. I think the pacing would have been like, okay, do I need to get through like 10 issues and do I want to keep having it on my pull list?
So a lot of people were picking it up before the show even came out. Well into its run, I think it was maybe by maybe volume 14 or 15 in the trade paperbacks. That's when it started getting more traction
Because
of
the show was announced.
No, it was
Or
no.
this was before?
This was before.
It was because that's when you start getting into like the meat and potatoes of the show.
Yeah,
of what
because stuff was
Invincible is.
happening, and then also Walking Dead was taking off, and then Robert Kirkman's name was getting more traction. So people are like, "Oh, wait, he's writing a superhero series. I want to read that because I read Walking Dead." So it's like, okay, I want to read Invincible and stuff, and that's what happened. It just started picking up more and more, and then when basically Robert Kirkman became really big, he's like, okay, he's still working on Walking Dead. He's like, okay, I'm gonna end Invincible then. I've been doing this since 2003. I'm gonna end it.
He said that he wants to change the ending though.
For Invincible, I definitely want to see how that is then.
He
'cause I
might
gotta
change
get
it in
caught
the
up.
series.
He always does that. He did it for, he changes his mind a lot. He changed the ending for the original Walking Dead comic book series.
Yeah.
Hey, Kirkman, I want issue 155. Psych. Let's just end it at 152 and announce it on Twitter.
Yeah, no, 143.
143.
Yeah, that's supposed to be like the ending of The Walking Dead.
Kirkman,
But-
why are you emotional? I get you. But like that threw me. I remember that day because I called Susan day of.
I think he put it on Twitter. Right?
He put it
Yeah.
on Twitter that day of.
I remember because I called
the
Susan.
day it came out.
I called Susan. I'm just like, so could I get issue 143?
And all of what Bryan heard was a laugh.
Oh, she was
did
laughing
laugh.
at his face.
Yeah,
She
no,
did
she
laugh.
laughed
Yeah.
because she's like, yeah, you're not the only one to do that. I'm like, I kind of figured. I just found this out. And he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, he kind of threw us all under the bus to it.
Yeah, I would imagine that that basically just threw all comic book stores under the bus.
Yeah, he pissed off a lot of comic book stores. Yeah, because we ordered. I was telling again, if I'm gonna reiterate what happened that day, is basically because we order comic books 3 months in advance. We have to do that,
like you do.
Yeah,
because the comic book doesn't come out and go and it teleports.
Right? Yeah, that's not how.
I still have 5 issues to write, but I'm choosing not to.
And mind you, Susan already ordered the next issues after 143 as well. Too.
He was going to end it at 145, wasn't he?
At least we all assume he was going to do it at 150.
Like
round it out. That's what normal people do, Kirkman. And
Kirkman goes to your house. He turns on the TV and you say, do you want the volume at 5, 10, 15?
Yeah.
You want it at 20? And he's like, I want it at 7. What?
I'm going to end it at 7.
That's 7.
So do you cook this do you cook your meals at 15-minute intervals? No, I want 8.
It's odd. It's just odd.
It's odd numbers.
So the thing is that
odd numbers.
when it comes to issues like that, we know 143. Not a lot of people are going to get into it, so we just order enough for our pull list and maybe a couple more on the wall,
right.
And then next thing you know, it's we're waiting for issue 143 and it comes in, and then that day I was just about to wake up to do the pull list here on that Wednesday, and then next thing you know, Twitter just blew up. If you're following comic stuff on Twitter, your Twitter blew up that day.
This is the last issue of The Walking Dead, and then everybody went, what?
Yeah.
I need to go get it.
There was no build up. There was no I'm going to end it. The next issue, guys, will be the final issue.
And he was 2 issues away from 43 because he announced it at 141, I think.
Yeah.
Kirkman is the type of person to say he has a meeting at 8 a.m. He sets his alarm at 7:02.
Mm-hmm.
That's the type of person he is. He doesn't set it at 7 a.m. or 7:15.
Yeah. He
sets it at 7:02. If he wants to sleep in, 7:07.
I do that.
Shut up. No, you don't.
Be
Be normal.
You want to see my alarms?
You can set 4 alarms. No, don't show me your alarms.
Don't actually show me.
I'm going to be mad. No,
Okay,
let's move on.
Let's go back into Invincible.
Why can't I open my phone?
Work technology. But this show overall was really, really well done. Like we said, the pacing was great.
Shut up. You just changed
No,
it.
I swear to God.
No. He just
I swear
opened.
to
Let me see.
I literally just opened it.
9:44. Oh my God.
No, stop.
You
Now I'm
psychopath.
upset. Now I'm bothered.
4:55.
That's normal. No, that's fine. It's if it's as long as it's in 5-minute intervals, I don't care. But if you do 3 or 2, I'm gonna be what the hell's wrong with you?
I'm a crazy man.
12:01.
Start switching.
Hey,
12:01.
Hey man, that extra minute does a lot.
Oh my God.
To me,
Anyway,
it doesn't.
Rene, go.
So, but the show's really great. The way that we're following Mark as soon as he becomes a superhero and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And the one thing I think we all agree with is that his love interest is really complicated.
It's complicated, but I think if you're a comic book reader,
yes,
you're gonna be you already know.
Yes.
You already know. It's still a very superhero-esque romance.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to balance my normal life, superhero life, and
High
love
school
life,
life,
and
yeah.
high school. There's so many different aspects to it.
The one thing, because we were talking about it earlier, the one thing that I think pissed everybody off was the fact that she was being very unreasonable. And
she was I got was it season 1 Iris West vibes?
Yes!
Of the Flash TV series?
Yes.
When no one liked Iris and everybody was just kind of dude, Iris needs to just be quiet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not because she's a girl or anything like that, but because fact that they're not writing her right.
Yeah.
So
and she just sounds dumb.
So here is, thank you for mentioning the Flash, because going back to that, pacing wise, think of it this way. The comic book has all the time in the world to set up stories, plot development, character developments, but it could also be that the publishing company probably told Kirkman, you need to have the X amount of issues, you need to stretch out the stories, which is probably why, and keep in mind, even though Kirkman, just spontaneously just decides to cancel certain issues because he gets all emotional or whatever, right? Kirkman is also known to just tangent, like left turn on a lot of his series.
Yeah, and I think he does that with his comic book series where he comes up with ideas and just runs with it.
Like he
doesn't have time to kind of think it out.
Oh, you mean like Negan or like the Walking Dead war?
Oh no, yeah, the Whispers and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like
when
no,
there's
it,
a, like,
big thing in the comic books.
Kirkman's writing style is like, okay, he's on pace, he's on pace, he's on pace. Pretty flower.
It's so true.
And just like turns right, and
I
you're just
want a
like, what
sound bit
about
of
the
that.
race?
I want a sound bit. Pretty pace, flower.
That's what it is.
Like
that's
Doug
how he
from
writes.
Up.
But that's how Kirkman writes.
Dude, you broke me.
But that's
Why is that true?
because that's how he writes.
No, but that's the way.
That's how he is,
perfect.
right?
Yeah.
So
No, you're
like
not
you
wrong.
get
You're not
that.
wrong.
You get that pacing. And so the
You're not
show
wrong.
Can you imagine Kirkman's gonna, if he listens to this? He's not.
gonna-
But just say he's be like, these mothers. I'm like,
Dude, I'm gonna tweet it to him.
Please, yes.
When we post this, I'm going to like tag him.
get the
in.
sound bit and tag him and be like, this is
Tag
it.
him.
this is how Kirkman writes. Pretty pace, flower.
Dude, just that
that sound
clip,
bit.
just that clip. This is how Kirkman writes.
Okay, but look.
Okay,
so
go ahead, go
Kirkman writes that way in his books, right?
Right,
the series is like Kirkman running that same marathon, but there's like one of those
You
like
scared the hell out of me.
why? Oh, because
No.
it's hot now. Because
No.
I made you laugh that much.
No. He scared the hell out of me because in the corner of my eye, because I saw him get up here, but I saw something move on the window.
Oh.
So I was like, "What the?
Oh,
who's
it's the
in-
shadow.
Who's in the store?" And then I saw him go past, and I'm like, "I'm afraid of reflections."
No, it's because
Reflections.
we're talking. And I'm like, oh man, I'm getting warm. I'm
Oh,
like,
it's the laughter, man.
yeah.
So
Oh,
the
shoot.
series, the TV or the streaming series is like Kirkman running that same marathon.
Yeah.
But
Right.
now there's like someone holding him on a leash, and as he's being distracted by the flower, he go no, and
No,
he drags him back.
No.
Yes, okay.
Hold on. Because here's the thing though, is that when Kirkman first wrote Invincible, he even said too. He goes, when I was writing it, I was petulant and I was in my 20s.
So he was a young
And
writer.
I was a young writer, and at some points, I just didn't understand. I didn't like the way I wrote.
So then he went back in time into the series, and he yanked his own.
He
leash and said,
restructured it.
Yeah,
Let's not focus on the flower.
Yeah, so it's basically like it's kind of like he put out all the issues and then went, which issues do not matter, like how do I chop this fat?
Yeah.
And he did it well, or
Yeah.
whoever's writing this, because going to the Flash now,
Mm-hmm.
the Flash TV series, and kind of Green Arrow did this as well, spent like an entire season to get the Flash to be the Flash.
Yeah.
And if the story, even if you could spend all that time, like
Joking?
5.
Arrow did like 4 seasons.
Exactly. Oh, that's right.
Took
They
4
just, like, did
seasons.
forever until he
was
finally
the-
came out in his
He was
costume.
the Hood.
Yeah.
He was the Arrow.
Yeah.
He was what else was
Oh,
he?
he was the Hood, the Arrow. Then it was like the green or something green.
The
Green Archer.
The
or
Green
something.
Archer.
Yeah. Ugh.
And then eventually he was like, I am
Green
the
Arrow.
Green Arrow. And,
And
then
then,
you were
like,
like, oh, about
The
time.
second to
dude.
the last season, he's like, oh, the goatee.
But see,
Like,
that's what I
that's it.
mean is that a show, like if you elongate the explanation,
Yeah.
right, you get bored, and so you start to lose interest. And just when the show's about to get good, now you got to catch up on all these other things and probably trek back like 2 seasons to catch up to it. Invincible, the streaming series,
Yeah.
just brought you in it.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that if we tell people watch the first episode, they'll be like, oh, I got to watch the next one.
Yeah.
And they'll probably watch 3 until they decide to say no more. But that's fine. The hook was episode 1. Snagged you in and said, this is it.
That's the thing, though, is that I feel that in the streaming service thing, in this, like even the comic book, I feel like that entire investigation of who killed the Guardians of the Globe
Yeah.
is one of the better arcs
In
Yeah.
the comic or in the series?
in the comic.
Yeah.
Like it like at that point, it's the better arc. It's the best arc.
Mm-hmm.
Like in those like first couple of issues of just kind of
Yeah.
going like, what's going on? and
But how
stuff
long
like
did
that.
it take you to get to that point?
I think it's like a volume, isn't it?
It was a whole volume. Yeah.
See, that's the problem. You have to go through a
volume.
whole volume to get to that point. Where in the show,
Yeah.
it's like right there,
I think-
you're hooked.
I think by volume 5, I want to say 5, it could be even 4, where it's basically how season 1 ends, where it's like Omni-Man tells Mark,
Yeah.
we need to talk.
Because at this point, you've already dealt with the Martians.
Yeah.
You've already dealt with the crime lords. You've dealt with a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think streamlining it and kind of going like, oh, that's season 2. Oh, that's season 3. Oh, we'll get back to Omni-Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I also
there's a bigger arc. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
there's
There's
a
a
bigger
bigger
arc
arc with Omni-Man and the
there
Ultramites.
there is a end game level war
Yeah.
that's coming, and they're setting the dominoes.
And
So-
I think that's what Robert Kirkman wants to do. That's going to be like maybe a season 3 kind of finale.
Season 4, they're
Yeah.
they're
They're
going.
gonna do
Kirkman
season 4.
is going to ask for like more seasons than just 3.
Well, he already got 2.
We're not going to see Omni-Man in season 2, I think. Not a lot.
I don't
if
think we're
anything.
gonna see. I honestly don't think you're gonna see him.
There's a
until-
reason for that in the last episode, but
I personally think you're not gonna see him until the end of 3.
That's even better. That's a thing.
good.
The
Then you're
build-up,
asking
yeah.
for like he's gonna. If The Walking Dead is at season 10, then we're probably gonna get like at least 6 or 7 seasons if people haven't lost interest in the show.
That's another thing is it's the way he's doing about this series. He's like you said, he's taking the fluff out.
Yeah.
And he's restructuring it. If he's doing that, this feels like it could be a 6 or maybe even an 8 season series. And
I
that's
said
it.
7 right in the smack in the
Yeah,
middle.
so-
That's Kirkman for you. I love you, Kirkman, but we're on to you.
But the thing is that I feel, even if you do that, because I also felt like there wasn't like a real understanding of passage of time in the comic books.
Yeah.
Like the passage of time, like they mention it.
every comic book.
Yeah,
That's true.
that's
That's
true.
every comic
that's
book.
I mean, unless you see
But
the sun
the
go
thing-
up and
the thing
down
is-
in
In the
comic.
last year, Spider-Man has gotten his job, promoted, lost his job, gotten his job,
all in one day.
lost his job again,
Got with MJ.
and now has renewed his entire life
In one day.
in 1 year.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
And he still hasn't aged.
But that's the
Concept of time does not exist.
Well, I mean,
No,
Peter
but
Parker's been around since like the 1950s.
there are concepts there are concepts that are going to be happening with Omni-Man where time definitely needs to change.
Yeah.
Not only that, but also the idea of Mark having to get stronger. And
Yes.
I feel like before you introduce the further threat of because at the end of the series, spoiler, they did say there is a threat of the Viltrumites.
Yes.
Viltrumites
Yeah.
will eventually come.
yes.
Before you have that situation of the Viltrumites coming, there has to be some form of growth. Like you
For
can't
Mark,
just
yeah.
you can't just have the Viltrumites immediately show up.
Well, they already, I mean, that's the thing. We saw how Mark took on one Viltrumite, which is his dad.
yeah,
and he did not
got
survive.
Wrecked.
It. Yeah.
He got wrecked.
He
I
only,
mean,
he technically did save the world, but it was because he basically was trying to reach out to his dad.
let me put it like this: the Viltrumites that he still has to fight make Omni-Man look like a pushover.
So, okay. So
Did you see the older dude?
I
Viltrumite?
did.
I was so happy they showed him.
Did. They showed
There's
an image of him
Yeah.
inside of the.
There's a Viltrumite you see. He's old and he's like bald and he has white hair, right? With like a
Okay.
white mustache. He's like a big kind of like.
Dude, that
thing.
guy-
That guy is he is like
He's
Omni-Man
ins-
times 10.
okay.
He,
so
he is like if Omni-Man was just jacked. like he just like literally if he ate his spinach like 8 times and then just decided to not care about anyone on the planet.
Dude,
so
yeah.
we're getting into the last episode. What's the timestamp right
We're
now?
hitting an hour and 6 minutes.
He's
hour
like
6.
6
So we're
Don't.
hour 6. Hour 6.
Hour
Okay,
6.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
Damn it.
I'm just saying of disaster.
Of disaster wise.
So basically, we're getting to the last bit of the show of the series, right? Of the season. So before we wrap it up, because we got about maybe another 15 minutes, and we got to just kind of wrap the show up because we don't want to make it an hour 30.
Like that, yeah.
I can't promise that.
Not with that attitude.
My attitude's great.
What's yours?
We're getting to a point where Kirkman has done his job by setting up so many problems.
Yeah.
There was a complaint that I had with the series
Okay.
in that there were way too many situations going on at some point that sometimes it didn't feel like everything had
To
a
be
proper solution.
Yeah, yeah.
the season ends with basically the main plot, the main dilemma being Mark finally realizing that his dad is a villain. You know, pretty much just kind of like wrapped up. Like it wrapped up in a way where it's like, okay, we can worry about this in the next season. And then it teased the next 2 seasons by reintroducing all the dilemmas that were left behind and that we thought somewhat concluded, and saying, no, there is now a bigger problem. Because as he recovered and he's going out in space to fight the threat and stuff like that that came back, which isn't a threat, he says, well, what am I going to do? And it's just a highlight reel of all the different dilemmas that he had to figure out throughout the season, saying like, these are not solved. They're going to be more.
Yeah, they're going to be coming up in season 2.
Yes.
From somebody who hasn't actually read the comic books and stuff like that, what I want to know is, from somebody who's just watched the comic book series, I mean, just watched the series, do you feel that there is any possible way for Omni-Man to be redeemed?
No. There's no... Okay, I'm going to say no. Okay. But this is based on like my initial reaction of just watching the series.
And just seeing the season finale.
Because like I said, so it's a very emotional show. Yeah. Like it tore me apart. Just from like every episode was something new where I felt like, holy crap, like this kid is going through so much. This is a guy that's going through the end of high school.
Yeah.
And he's getting hit and just bombarded with problem after problem after problem. It wasn't so much like physical violence that he was going through, but it was like emotional
turmoil.
Emotional trauma. In the last episode, when he finds out that Omni-Man, his dad, basically is just like, oh, because this is such a great thing. When he tells, you know, Mark, the story of the Viltrumites, right? He makes them out to be like, you know, prestigious and great and protectors of the universe. And he breaks the news. It's like, no, we're a race of people that essentially are like the best of the best. We killed off the weak.
They believe they are the superiors.
The way that I looked at it is, if what would have happened if Superman would have stayed on Krypton, and instead of Krypton being like a peaceful nation, it was like if Zod would have taken over.
Yes, no, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, that mentality of like power hungry mentality. What if we are the supreme best species of their, and like it's a superiority complex in a way kind of thing. Yeah. You know, like, you know.
Would you say it's planetism?
Sure.
Well, that's the thing.
It's like it's like nationalism, but for my planet, that we are the best.
Is there a way of like, because it's not like planetary, it's species wise.
Well, but there's two sides of that coin, because for one, the Viltrumites believe that they're better than everybody else. 2, shows that the Viltrumites, because he mentions it in the very end, that the Viltrumites basically killed themselves off.
Yeah.
That they annihilated half the population by doing this.
But only the best of the best stood. And
that was the thing, though, is that he even says they stopped sending people out to other planets because their numbers are so low. So that's why they're going to planets, having children, and then taking over planets, because they're slowly building their numbers.
Exactly. They're trying to do it in like a small way, but like they're more of like a military species. Like they don't think emotionally. They don't want to be like passionate about anything. Like
it's like if you gave the Empire superpowers.
I think the thing, and we talked about it. We talked about it.
What are you talking about? They have the Force. They do have superpowers. What are you talking about?
Not every stormtrooper. You know what I mean? If you gave every single one of your troopers.
You mean the 12 Inquisitors that were just going around murdering things?
So can we agree that the thing that triggered us the most was when Mark and no, we mentioned it. We talked about it. When Mark is talking to Nolan and saying like, then what do we mean if you think that humanity is so insignificant that our life is a speck of dust to you guys, then what is mom? I just treated her more as a pet. And when he said that, I was like, what the heck?
Then he asks him again. He goes like, if we're all worthless, does that mean mom's worthless? He goes, in the grand scheme of things, technically, yes.
He's not wrong.
No, but that's the thing that makes it. That's what makes that interaction so great.
Yeah, to play devil's advocate.
Yeah, no, it's 100% right. Yeah, in a way, he's not wrong, because like, you know, we can argue about this and say like, okay, was Thanos right in snapping and, you know, getting rid of like half the universe's population?
That's the thing. We saw his vision. But it was the way he wanted to do it.
And guess what? Falcon and the Winter Soldier did. It proved where he was right.
Technically, Thanos was correct.
Exactly.
The Earth was better off.
Exactly. So when you hear Nolan's speech, is he wrong? from a logical perspective, you can argue yes and no. But when we talk about... Yeah, sorry, go on.
I was going to say, but in the way of he wants to do it by just killing off innocent people.
Ethically speaking, is it right?
It's
but
not right.
I also understand it too, because it's like, okay, so think of it from that point of view. He lives for a millennia. You have a pet. It lives maybe 12, 15 years. It's a fraction of your life and everything like that. It's, it's something that you care for. It's a partner. It's whatever it is.
My German Shepherd, when I was growing up, he lived to be 12 years old. He was my companion from middle school when we first moved into my home all the way up to halfway through my college years. And when he passed, it was devastating. But that's where that ethical morality side kicks in. Nolan, Omni-Man, can basically say, these guys are insignificant. Humanity is nothing but insignificant. And your planet is just something that we need to conquer to better your race.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but also in the grand scheme of things, you live 50 years, you'll be a memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
but what does that memory mean to you?
Yeah, you'll be a fond memory in 50 years.
Yeah. But what does that memory mean to you? Even in movies like Coco talk about that as well. If we're gonna throw it off and see where else we see it, Coco talks about that. Like the significance of knowing someone for generations.
Don't make me cry.
That's why this show is fantastic. If you can connect it to other things, it starts to make sense.
Yeah.
It does.
And this is where that show throws you those emotional curveballs, because as you're not just watching a dad beat his son to death to try to prove a point. And
what a point it was.
No, it's just so, even thinking about it gets me so
well, the thing was,
what?
The way he was doing it too, just killing everyone. And then what started it was obviously when Mark saves that pilot.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh man, I almost died. And then just Omni-Man's right there. And you kind of feel no, don't do it. Don't do it. And then he just, bam, just kills the pilot.
The train scene.
Yeah.
When he's like, if you're not going to understand it, maybe I'll show you again.
Yeah.
And he just obliterates an entire subway of people.
By standing still.
Yeah. And he's trying to struggle to get out of it. And you see, then afterwards, as he's in full panic of what have I done? What the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Omni-Man goes and he's like, why do you care about these people? Steps on a corpse that's right there as he's struggling to get out of it and smashes his hand into the concrete.
He's struggling to get to his daughter.
Yeah.
And
he smashes him.
Yep.
And it's just
that's even worse.
In this show, I don't think the show should be, if we're going to move on and say would we recommend this?
Oh yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. I understand if you are, you can't stand grotesque violence and it's just too much.
But the show shows a really deep meaning between
it's not violence for violence. It's not Kirkman, if you're listening to this, I love The Walking Dead up to season 3, but I'm gonna be real for you for a second. The Walking Dead became Gore Fest the show. How can we kill people off in the most grotesque possible way?
I feel like that was more the showrunners than it was.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't Kirkman. I don't blame Kirkman.
Eventually, that was just AMC, where they were just people watch it for the gore.
Yeah, exactly.
And they watch it
instead of story matters here.
Instead
It's
of
zombies
the
matter
story.
here.
And at a certain point, you have to kind of look at it and go, how much of this is Kirkman and how, because Kirkman did change stuff.
For The Walking Dead?
I think Kirkman said that he left after a couple seasons.
He left after season 3.
Yeah, because I know that he wanted to do more with Shane's character.
Yes.
Because originally he was supposed to die in season 1 if we're going off of comic book wise.
Yeah.
He's supposed to die in season 1, but he
kept him.
He kept him, and he wanted to keep going with him.
Because I think the what was it, the scene where they get to the CDC.
Yeah,
that wasn't in the comics.
Not at all.
And that was a Kirkman thing. Kirkman was like, "What about if they get to the CDC?"
And that was a great ending to season 1 because it kept the mystery going. But that's what I mean is that The Walking Dead put violence and gore on a pedestal, but it was visual. It had no meaning. You didn't have Merle's death. When Daryl sees his own brother die, best death of The Walking Dead, and I think that was season 3.
No, it wasn't.
Or season 4.
That was season 5.
It's still a great death because there was an emotional attachment to it.
Because they're still getting to the prison at
So
that point.
prison
They're in the prison for 2 seasons.
Because season 2 was basically Herschel's
farm
and
was
then
all of season 2.
And then season 3 was when they write there get to the prison, but that was like a whole thing.
And that's a whole thing of them clearing out.
Doing
yeah.
everything
Like that.
Season 4 was the governor?
The introduction.
It's the no. Season 4 is dealing with the convicts, and then starting to get introduced to the governor. Season 5 is the governor is here.
That's right. Yeah, because he tries to sneak attack on him, and Merle just gets converted into a zombie.
Yeah, and then he captures. He captures.
Michonne?
No. He captures his brother, Daryl.
Oh, yeah.
He captures Daryl, and then he sacrifices himself so Daryl could live.
Yeah.
And that's like a whole thing.
But that's what I mean is that death meant something. And Invincible does that, where violence is used to amplify the point in terms of what he's trying to show.
Yes.
And so if you are, weak stomached and whatnot, and you can't take it, it's hard. And I feel like if people are very emotionally driven, this show will tear them apart, just because you're getting a lot of things. If you're like a frequent listener to the podcast, my dad passed away. And so for me, father-son kind of like interactions are very heavy. And I love the show because of that. And when it tears it apart at the end of the season, holy crap, man. I cried at least twice.
I was actually, when I was watching, I was like, oh man, Bryan's gonna,
because he beats his son, and there's no getting to him.
And then having that vision, or not the vision, but that memory.
The vision was cool.
Yeah, the memory of him of when he visit his son's first baseball game and stuff.
I cried when, and this is the part that even talking about it just because holy crap, man. When he says, "Why do you do this, Mark? Why are you risking your own life to save humanity when it doesn't mean anything? After everyone passes,
in 500 years, what are you gonna have?
I'll have you,
Dad." And I'm just like, oh,
that was the greatest line.
You could have said, "I love you, Dad," but no. He said, after 500 years, what are you going to have, Mark?
I'll have you.
Oh.
And that's what stopped Omni-Man.
Yeah, it is what stopped Omni-Man.
Yeah,
it's a great line.
I felt it when Omni-Man stops. And he has like 3 reactions in 1 minute, and he's like
mad, and he's getting, and as soon as he gets sad, he just boom, and just.
It's the, I'm going to kill you. I can't kill him because I love him. I gotta leave.
Yeah.
I can't do my mission. I can't complete it.
What I love too is that they show like him going in like supersonic speed,
and
covered in blood, and then like the blood burns off when he reaches the atmosphere, and then that tear just comes out.
And it freezes,
the tear freezes and falls. I actually thought that was an interesting concept. Of because I've never seen that in anything really. Of like, oh yeah, as we fly up, the atmosphere will burn away.
Yeah, because you're reaching the atmosphere. Yeah,
because you're reaching the atmosphere, so obviously it would burn it away.
So
I don't think I've ever seen that in like any comic book.
I feel like a lot of comics and shows. To wrap it up, does anyone have anything before I do a little spotlight on like the science behind it?
I think if anything, the one thing that made me kind of just like not weep, but just like feel for Mark is every time in that whole episode in the finale was just that he kept failing to try to save everyone.
And
that apartment building when he's holding it up.
Yeah, the one that really hurt me was the minute. It's that minute of the moment when he's in the bed, he's already been beaten, and his mom says, "I'm proud of you," and he can't even stomach seeing her or hearing those words, and he kind of turns away from her. And just the idea of, I couldn't save a single person. Like not one person who I attempted to say. Like if I consider myself a hero, how can because it's a huge thing in like some anime and some comic book things. Like My Hero Academia says the same thing of like how could I how could I call myself a hero if I can't save one person?
Yeah.
And everything like that. And I think that was such a hurtful thing.
Yeah.
But also it's going to be a great hero moment of him having to become stronger. And him having to build on his own on his own failures. Because if anything makes a hero evolve, it's them failing.
Yes. Yeah. That's a good way to wrap it up. I like that. I think we'll end it on that point.
Yeah, definitely.
And if we haven't sold you on anything, I'll tell you this right now. There was a very clever little thing they threw in the last episode of season 1 when Mark recovers from his injuries and goes into Cecil, the guy who runs this thing or the organization that like keeps track of all the superheroes and stuff. He takes him into a white room. He's like, "What is this?" Turns on the light, and then he's just like, "Wait, why did I not see this?" Oh, because the government put a chemical in the water that doesn't allow you to see a certain particles in light and stuff.
Super conspiracy theory.
And I was just like, all right, let's get these conspiracy theories going, boys. Let's do this.
Buddy.
Science in this one is like pretty good. I'll say it's really good. Yeah, it's good.
I mean, for a superhero,
it's fun.
Like, universe. I mean, they'll play They play fast and loose.
It's not typical. It's very fun, I think.
Yeah, you can tell that they really dwell into their own science.
Yeah, which is good because you can fall victim to like, let's try to make it as realistic as possible.
Yeah,
and then Neil deGrasse Tyson comes in and says, "No, that's not true." And like then throws a bunch of astrophysics kind of stuff at you.
Like the whole in Endgame when they explain their own version of time traveling.
Yeah, and just Neil deGrasse Tyson was like, "You like fun, right? Yeah, let me take let me ruin this for you."
Where he's just like, the writers have no idea what time travel is. And you're just like, "Well, thanks, Neil deGrasse Tyson, for writing it.
Thanks for ruining the movie for me."
Thanks, bud. You're a smart dude. I love your science, but like, don't ruin it.
No,
please.
I never listen to him. Like whatever he does, whenever a movie comes out and just has to do with science, I'm just like, nah, I'm not following that.
No. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap this show up, guys. Just a quick little reminder, if you made it this far, we appreciate and love you guys. We love the support. We love the listens. Let us know what you guys think. We are active on social media, like we said earlier. We have a website. Reach out to us there if you guys have any comments, anything you liked about the show, things you want to see from us. We're working on that stuff. The website will be kept alive and going. We want this to be a thing, and expect more, I guess, spotlights around Whittier, because like I said, we want to throw, we want to celebrate Whittier for what it is, especially since this is where we started our headquarters. So we'll be spotlighting a lot of the businesses here and places and stuff. And we want to do that with the website and have that. Follow us on there. If you have Instagram, we have an Instagram account, Keeping Up with the Nerds. Just look us up there. Twitter, same thing, Keeping Up with the Nerds. The handle's a little bit different because we're still trying to work on that.
Yeah.
If you are listening to this on audio platforms, find us on Podbean, Spotify, Google Podcast, and Spotify, Podbean, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts as well. Right. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please rate us and let us know what you guys think.
Yes.
We, it practically means nothing, but, we love to see what you guys think, especially if you guys want to leave a review of us, leave it on there. If you are listening to this on the audio platforms and want to check us out on YouTube, Keeping Up with the Nerds does have a YouTube channel where we upload weekly videos. If I try to get to the editing and stuff like that.
Eventually they'll come out.
Yeah.
No, they're weekly. They're weekly. What you were doing so well.
I was.
You were doing so well and then went, yeah, but I mean, if I get to it.
It's a lie.
You're doing so well.
If I get to it.
Yeah, like if I get to it, I guess they're weekly.
It'll eventually go up.
They'll go up.
They're there in spirit.
By the time Loki comes out, then you'll know.
They'll for sure be out, right?
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah,
they have to.
By the time Loki comes
the
out,
goal.
That's how you know what our feelings were on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's.
So the podcasts are also uploaded on there on YouTube every Wednesdays at 11:30. So if you want to listen to it on there, go for it and leave comments down below. I think that about does it, right? Or am I missing anything?
You are missing something. Make sure to subscribe and also to hit the bell. You can get some. You can also personalize it and get some updates or all of them. Go ahead and click the all of them page, just so that way you can hear all of our fancy little voices and smooth speaking voices and our ideal topics on comic books, nerdy. Anything really. Make sure also, if you can, go ahead and hit that follow on the Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever your actual social media platform is of preference, and shoot us that follow. And also make sure to like a couple of our videos. It'll show you some stuff. Maybe it'll put you down a rabbit hole, which you might enjoy. And if you liked something else, go ahead and click it.
Thanks for repeating everything I just said.
Hey, listen, man. I have a script in front of me and I follow it.
There's no script in front of you. Don't lie. Who do you like better, guys? Mine or Nick's?
It's in.
They're gonna say Nick's.
The 5D.
I like how you're so like everyone assuming that they won't like you.
No, they won't. I know. They want. I mean, you and Nick want to eat me. So apparently,
hey, first of all, that was all Nick.
All right, are we ready to wrap this show up?
I mean, you know what? I stand by what I said.
Thanks, Nick. We're going to wrap this show up. Thank you guys for listening.
This is now hitting an hour and 30.
Rene, hit us.
Thank you, citizens, for listening to this issue of Keeping Up with Nerds Variety Hour. I'm your host, Rene.
And this is Bryan.
And this is Nick.
Coming to you from 12920 Philadelphia Street, Woody, California, recording at Undercity Comics. We thank you, citizens, once again, and hope to see you all